I'm gonna do a conference necessity and take a quick selfie with all of you and not be able to see any of you because of the backlighting. But I do this with this. This is Teattle. This is my 3-year-old pet dinosaur. We go on trips together, and so hola Teattle. And this, and, oh, I can kind of make you out. Yay for phones. Oh, look at that! All right, and then I didn't get myself in it, so nobody's gonna believe I actually took that picture. Okay, yeah, that's awesome. Hi, Argentina. Okay. So, I'm Jeff. That's my Twitter handle, in case you have like heaps of praise to give me during and after this talk, and not any bad things to say ever. Just, out of fellow practice. Down at the bottom are my slides. There's a PDF there. It is there in case you are listening on a translator. So you can read along because sometimes I get to rambling. Surprise. Also, that's the big key to that. Look at this. So I have some freedom. Okay, so more useless information about me. I come from Seattle. I am an incredibly Seattle human being. My hometown and has been for a very, very, very long time. This is a picture I took of Seattle before I left. It is very, very accurate and good. If anybody here says that that's not a good picture of Seattle, they're lying. Also a note on any commentary I make here, I'm going to give a huge shout out to the translators because I've been listening on the machine because my Spanish is awful, and so they've been doing a really good job, and so they'll probably do a really good job during this talk unless any of my jokes aren't funny, and then they did like a really bad job translating them. So. This is a picture of Seattle, and it was a picture of Seattle that I took, and actually, the big key to this picture is that this is a picture from a different time than where this talk would take place. It's from the before time. So for this picture, I'm going to tell you a story. The world is veiled in darkness. Dependencies are inconsistent, builds are slow, version numbers matter not. The people wait, their only hope a prophecy. When dependency hell has plagued your JavaScript project, a tool will come. And after a long journey, some programmers arrive, each holding a pretty loaded metaphor for a technical talk. So, I give to you Package Quest. Our story begins not so long ago when you, our hero developer, are given a mission. Build a great website to honor your gods of user. Your gods are numerous and vengeful and will not tolerate an experience less than pristine. Your bosses, the masters of C-Team, are demanding that you appease the gods quickly, so as they can be granted riches in this life and the next. The task sounds grueling. Building each piece of a website from nothing involves strong magic and patience and time. And in a world where each of these items is scarce, we need something to help us, something to guide us, something to give us the pieces that leave us less exposed to the cruel, monstrous insects that anger our user gods. There is a place that is spoken of that was used long ago. See, after the great programming war, when the Dark Ages came into place, all of our help and hopes were destroyed. And speaking of this location, and the tool to get there was forbidden. But word of mouth is passed on from generation to generation, and you, our hero, will search out and find the land of our desires, the Registry. The only thing we know is that to enter the Registry, there is talk of a tool. a magical weapon to destroy dependency hell that was forged by sorceresses of colorful hair. This tool survived multiple iterations and was faster and more powerful than anybody could have imagined. This tool is called NPM. NPM was cleanly broken apart by the sorceresses in case there ever came a time when NPM needed to be built again. Book 1, Chapter 1. According to old documentation found in the ruins of GitHub, our magical tool requires the help of 3 companions: Shishigami, the forest spirit; Bokoche, the master of packages; and Registry Client, a smuggler that can give you a special passcode to enter the registry. Each of these, when brought to the sorceresses of colorful hair, can be forged together by the light of JavaScript to create the NPM tool. And so, hero, to begin, we visit Shishigami, the creator of the dependency tree. The forest spirit's job is to piece together exactly what you need from your install. It scours through your list of package demands and also through what you already have installed and puts together an ideal tree, a perfect structure for your dependencies, so all your needs will be served. It achieves this by first reading your node modules directory, your local package tree. It does this by combing through your node modules folder. Then it reads your package lock JSON to make sure that the tree built from your node modules directory matches the tree from your package lock. After that, it is time to get the metadata for each missing package. At this point, Shishigami will call upon Bokoche. Bokoche's role within building a dependency tree is to reach out to the registry to get information about each package needed to be installed. According to the documented scriptures of Bokoche, this information will be delivered via corgi doc, which is not this small and cute dog as represented here, which is unfortunate. On a side note, when I was building this talk, I was like, corgi doc is actually the word for this in our documentation. And so I go and look for corgi doc, and this picture comes up. And please tell me you wouldn't use this picture in your talk too. Anyway, so a corgi doc is a very small piece of metadata that lets the tree worker know which versions of the package are available in the registry. Once this metadata is in place, the tree is normalized. Shishigami then puts together the ideal tree and calculates the difference between that and the tree that has been put together from the package lock and the metadata. The difference is where packages are moved, removed, or fetched and installed. Shishigami is located within the NPM repository. You go there and speak its name. It joins your party. Book 1, Chapter 2. I'm like laughing at my own jokes up here. It's good. Now that you have Shishigami, you will need Bokoche. Bokoche is the master of packages and comes equipped with her own caching system, Kakash. Kakash is Bokoche's nearly endless pack of fun. It is a key value storage system written in Node.js that is immensely fast. What it does best is get you the correct data quickly. It does this with great concurrency, incredible fault tolerance, support for SHA-1 and 512, and data consistency that notices if the data is corrupted. During installation with the NPM tool, Kakash stores the package data on disk, there. If the content is unavailable in the cache, Bokoche uses makeFetchHappen to fetch the package. Now, makeFetchHappen is a wrapper for NodeFetch, a Node.js implementation of the browser's window.fetch. MakeFetchHappen tacks on HTTP cache support, request pooling, and several more features to make it very easy to use and very fast. Its caching system relies upon Kakash. Because Pacoche knows that make-fetch-happen uses Kcache as its caching system, when Pacoche is asked to fetch a package, it can use Kcache directly to get any data that it would use make-fetch-happen to request before it uses make-fetch-happen to get the package. So first it asks Kcache, do you know about the package I need? Many times, Kcache says yes, but when it says no, Pacoche can use make-fetch-happen to go out and grab the package. Then, when make-fetch-happen returns the package, it can be stored back inside of Kcache for Pacoche to get next time. Pacoche also provides an extractor in order to unwrap the packages that it's installing. Packages come from the registry in the form of tarball, and Pacoche understands how to make this into executable JavaScript for your consumption by unpacking the contents and placing that code accordingly. And as mentioned before, when dealing with Shishigami, Pacoche is capable of reaching out to the registry to grab the necessary metadata to understand just what packages you need. That metadata helps Shishigami by letting it know which versions the registry has of the packages you need, so it can build your dependency tree perfectly. Pacoche is largely the workhorse of the NPM tool and lives in the repository on GitHub, where you can find her. You ask, she eagerly joins your party. Book 1, Chapter 3. The last and final spirit you need to build a tool is Registry Client. Much like many other API clients, the Registry Client is a wrapper around an external API. Registry Client allows you to talk to the registry for most anything revolving around your account and management of things you own. This includes changing ownership of packages, publishing and unpublishing packages, adding and removing members to and from your orgs and teams, and in this specific case, authentication. When you use the Registry Client for authentication, it asks you for your username, password, and email address. Then it takes that to the registry and returns with an authentication token. When you authenticate, the registry remembers your token and you store it in your npm rc file. That token will be useful when you and Pacoche use the tool to go get your package. You find Registry Client lurking around a corner on GitHub. You pass it a note saying, "Will you join my party?" It nods its head and follows behind you. Book 1, Chapter 4. Pacoche, Shishigami, and the Registry Client have guided you to NPM Inc., home of the sorceresses of brightly colored hair. They introduce themselves and walk you and your new party members to the installer. Sure. That's pretty much it. Within the realms of the installer, they forge together the spirits of your party members to be called upon anytime you desire. Ta-da! Their magic is strong, and they have added to the tool the ability to increase its level to learn new skills and talents along the way, while simultaneously making the quest to obtain your packages smoother. You can do this by telling the tool to install itself. CLI, 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 they chant. The tool is yours. Go, log in, and install. Book 2, Chapter 1. With the mission to forge the CLI complete, we turn to our map to see where the path forward leads. All signs point to the great registry, registry.npmjs.org. Let us make the journey. You start your quest at the land of Terminal Point. First, we log in. You pull out your CLI tool. You speak into it, npm login. The spirit of the Registry Client emerges. Username, J. Lembeck. Password. Oh shit, that's my actual password. A very good password. Email, jeff@npmjs.com. And with that, you are whisked away. Also, look at these slides go again. We ride the road of the great network to the first destination on the request, the shopkeep Fastly. Fastly is a CDN class who specializes in speed. I'm like working niche audience references going on in here. She and her sisters, all with the same name and same personality, just think different locations, like an Officer Jenny or a Nurse Joy. I'm serious, niche audience right here. Just trending it down. Spread the globe and position themselves in ways so you'll get to them far more quickly than if you were to reach out to just one part of the world. She handles the cash for packages, and if you approach her with the name of the package you were looking for, she will do her best to get it for you. Unbeknownst to many, Fastly also provides traffic routing. She handles all requests to the registry and will forward them along to where they need to go. How she does her work is largely based on two things: her cache and a light routing layer written in VCL. Fastly looks at you. What brings you here? Authentication? All right. Right this way. Fastly guides you on a path. Book 2, Chapter 2. She takes you to Foyer. Foyer operates as the entry point to the NPM registry. Information about packages, users, orgs, teams, and any modification to those things must first go through Foyer. Foyer also handles the path to authentication. You and Registry Client knock on the doors. From behind the walls you hear, "What is your purpose?" "I would like to log in." "Hand me your credentials." "One moment." The guard behind the door calls for a messenger, the NPM auth WS client, and tells them to take this information and be on their way. Book 2, Chapter 3. NPM auth WS. They're a gatekeeper for proving who you are and where you can go. She's very quiet and only speaks with messengers from behind the doors of the Foyer. NPM auth WS will be handling your authentication today. Authentication being when you prove who you are. This is versus authorization, being when you are checked to see if you have access to something. So when somebody talks about auth, and you don't know what they mean, it could be one of those two. To check whether you're authenticated, NPM auth WS will reach out to the Synecdoche API. The Synecdoche API is the glue that binds together the two beholders of truth, User ACL2 and Payments API. Its API acts as a proxy for User ACL2, and when requests come through that gather or change information about payment, it also makes a call to the Payments API. As the NPM auth WS reaches out to log in, the request is proxied through Synecdoche API to User ACL2. So, User ACL2 is the grand beholder of truth. If any changes are made to any accounts, it is written by User ACL2, and then that information is sent elsewhere via NSQ messages. Any of the calls to Foyer from the Registry Client that might involve changing teams, organizations, package permissions, or users, that's all User ACL2. And most relevant for this story, User ACL2 handles logging in. So, NPM auth WS, trusty client friend, NPM auth user API, what a good dog, passes the credentials to User ACL2 for your logging in, and it is successful. User ACL2 responds back with a token. This token is passed back through the clients and to NPM auth WS, who takes your token and saves it into Redis, the great dictionary of keys and values. It will use this token in any instance where you need to access the registry again. Once it has done that, it passes the token back to Foyer. The doors open and a hand slips out with the token attached. Registry Client takes it, walks back to you, grabs your hand, and you transport back to Fastly, and then back to Terminal Point. Your token is written in your npm-rc file. You are now logged in. Book 3, Chapter 1. running long. I'm sorry. Chapter 1. Okay, now that you are logged in, it's time to install. You look around and you are surrounded by nothing. Terminal point is empty with the exception of you and the CLI. Your mouth starts making a sound like it's made 1,000 times before. npm init --yes. You're not sure where it came from, or where you'd heard it, if you'd ever heard it. But there it was. And now, in front of you, is a package JSON file. You look at the CLI once again and say, npm install express. Shishigami arrives and looks around. Seeing no node modules folder and no package lock JSON, Shishigami whistles and Pakoche arrives, carrying Kakash over her shoulder, in her hand. They speak quietly. They put together the address. Pakoche grabs your hand, and you disappear again, back to Fastly. Book 3, Chapter 2. Once again, you walk up to the shop key. Pakoche speaks. Check my accept header. Ah, I see you're here for the corgi of an unscoped package. Excellent. Go along. You remember from before that a corgi is a metadata file for a package requested. It's significantly smaller than your standard JSON representation of the package, and it includes disk tags, version numbers, and each version's dependencies. Since the package is unscoped, it is a public package, so there's no security issues to worry about for your read access to it. But Fastly sends you to a specific address in our Cave of Wonders. You can arrive at the Cave of Wonders, which is an S3 or Google Cloud storage instance that is home of packages and their information, served right from their disk. And who disturbs my slumber? Hello, what do you need? Just made that accent up, it's terrible. We're here for a corgi for this unscoped package. Here's the address. Very well, go right along. You go get your corgi. And take it back to Fastly, who then caches it for quicker retrieval the next time it is needed. After that, you head back to Terminal Point. Once arriving, you and Pakoche hand over the corgi doc to Shishigami, who reads it and then sends the two of you back for the corgi of each dependency. This occurs until all the corgi docs are retrieved. Once Shishigami has all the docs necessary, it produces a dependency tree. Congratulations, you have a dependency tree. Now that you have a dependency tree, the tool begins glowing again. It calls upon Pakoche to get the packages. Pakoche sees the version and packages needed and uses those to create new routes to request. This time, it's TGZ files, or tarballs. Gzipped tarballs in particular. Pakoche checks inside of her bag. It's empty. She pulls out Make Fetch Happen, says a few words, grabs your hand, and once again, you're on the road to Fastly. Now, tarballs are Fastly's specialty, which is exciting. Pakoche walks up to Fastly. It says here that I need to reach this address. I'm not reading that. Oh, let me see if this is in my cache. It is. Here you are. Thanks. So, Fastly's caching system stores cacheable tarballs at its points all across the globe. That's like where all of the pop centers for Fastly are. This means that public packages that have been downloaded by other users can be saved after they are retrieved from the package servers. This makes for an extremely quick experience. In Buenos Aires, you'll be hitting the multiple pop center of São Paulo. Pakoche's Make Fetch again stores the package away for you in Kakash, just in case you need it again. On to the next package. Array flattened, version 1.1.1. And back to Fastly you go. On the way, you ask Pacoche, do you really make one round trip at a time? And Pacoche laughs. Oh, dear developer, this is Node.js. I make all of these requests in parallel, to the best of my ability. I'm walking through these serially for all of your learning benefit. And you nod. In real-life side story thing, one of my coworkers has like a 16-core laptop. Now it's a ridiculous machine. And can install our website's application in less than 4 seconds. It's stupid. It says here that I need to reach, once again, this heck of an address. Oh. This is certainly an unscoped package, so it's public, but it isn't in my cache. Let me send you along to the Cave of Wonders to that specific file. So, this works much like the Corgi doc did. It is a public file going to a package server. So you arrive at the cave, and who disturbs my... Oh, hello, what do you need? Again. And we're here for this specific unscoped package. And very well, So then you grab the package and head back to Fastly, who asks if she can make a copy, in case somebody else wants this later. Then you head back to Terminal Point. This continues through all of these public packages. Pacoche checks Cache, does not have the necessary package. Heads to Fastly, she either has the package or not. If not, she sends you to the closest package server and makes sure to cache the package on the way back. Once each of the packages have been downloaded, Pacoche begins the extraction. The tarballs are untarred and placed in the node modules directory to match the tree. The tool blows again and begins to run its lifecycle scripts. You hear the song sing the words. Pre-install, build, install, post-install, finalize, refresh package JSON. Your package JSON has changed. All of your files are properly placed and built, and they are now requireable from your project, and you can use them. The end? Now, you've seen the last slide. It doesn't have a question mark, so I totally blew that big reveal right there. Book 4, Chapter 1. All things are peaceful again. You can move quickly and build your web application now that you have a framework in place. But you need another package, and this time, it's a private one from your organization. You pull out your trusty CLI and speak into it. npm install Fantasy World super secret code. Shishigami arises again and calls upon Pacoche for you to go get the Corgi for your scoped package. You and Pacoche head off to Fastly. Fastly asks what you are here for and notices that your Corgi doc request is for a scoped package. Before you can say anything, she opens the door and sends you along to the next step on our quest. ID Authify, master of all things auth. No, really, all things. The N is at the same time. Book 4, Chapter 2. ID Authify, the master of auth and protector of the cave, carries the keys to your journey to package server. She will make sure that you are who you say you are and that you are capable of viewing that package. Then she will tell Fastly if you are worthy. She asks you for your credentials, which are mainly the authentication headers that Fastly makes sure you have and associates and sends you to the Eye of Authn, which is actually a server called Identify, but I wanted to call it the Eye of Authn for this story because that is cool sounding. Now, it wants the exact request you came with, and it examines your headers. In particular, it cares for your authorization header, or a cookie, or a Fastly client IP header. Now, since we were unable to bring in a session cookie with which to feed the eye, it will have to look into our authorization header. An authorization header includes the scheme and the credentials being used. For the eye, the scheme is bearer, and the credentials are your authentication token bestowed upon you when you are logged in. If your credentials match the records that Identify keeps, it will gift you with the sigil of your house, a bearer token. You will no longer be questioned, and you will be sent along your way. Now, how does it check that you are who you say you are? When you logged in, when your token was created, it was stored in a Redis instance that is now being referenced by Identify. As long as that token remains in Redis, It is valid to reference and can be used to get through Identify. The tokens that you've used in total are available on the website, and we'll never display your whole token, but you can go delete tokens that you've used in the past and whatnot. So now that your token's been retrieved, it is set as the value on the response back to ID Authentify. A bearer header, the header, your sigil, and you have been successfully authenticated. So congratulations. Now that you've proven who you say you are, you show your bearer header to ID Authentify, who will then find out if you are capable of accessing the package that you'd like to install. In order to get this information, ID Authentify checks with the keeper of user authentication data, user auth cache. For Chapter 3. User auth cache serves a very specific purpose. Does this user have access to this package? If so, is it read or write access? If it does not know, it reaches out to Synecdoche to find out, which passes through to user ACL2. As mentioned earlier, user ACL2 is the true master of knowledge. They have say on all of these things. User ACL2, as mentioned earlier, was all of the grand bearing of truth, whereas Payments API is there to check for payment data, hence the sweet jewels. I used a laser pointer. Then it's all kept in the cache. So today, the sun shines upon you. Nothing has been invalidated in a bad way, and ID Authentify returns with news from the keeper. You are allowed. Proceed back to Fastly with your head held high. Had user auth cache returned with bad news for ID Authentify, you would receive the mark of forbidden. Before Chapter 4, I have to hurry. Now that you have permission from ID Authentify, you return to Fastly with new credentials. She checks her cache to see if there's an entry with these credentials and this package. It is not there. She opens the door to the path to the Cave of Wonders. So you go and you get that fuzzy little doctor. Where are you? There you are. And then she caches the Corgi doc in a way that only you can retrieve it from that point forward. So you can go back to terminal point. So you've got the hang of this. Now that you know how to get the metadata, you can get packages the exact same way. And you have your tool of valor in which to do it. You know the path. So join Pocoche and follow the same route to get your packages. With your bravery, hero, you've once again opened the doors to the promised land of the NPM registry. Now the 9.3 million voices that call out for hope once again can appease their gods and their masters. That is until they overthrow both. The end.